The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Optavia Habits of Health call. I'm Shirley Mast. I'm a certified Optavia coach, and it is my pleasure to have the opportunity to introduce our guest tonight. Now, if this is your first time joining the Habits of Health call, a special welcome to you. This call is for all Optavia clients, coaches, and health professionals. You might not fit in any of those categories. Maybe you're just simply interested in learning more about our program and how to create better health. And if that's the case, welcome. We're really glad to have you here. So you may hear content geared towards those that are in various stages of their health journey. Some are in the weight loss phase of their health journey. Some are in transition. Some are in the optimization phase, moving on to a lifetime of optimal health. And as you know, Optavia offers excellent tools and support for weight loss, but we also have a lot to offer to anyone who's looking for better health in any area of life. So if you're in the weight loss phase, perhaps you're in our Optimal Weight 5-in-1 plan, please be sure to follow the guidelines that have been set up for you as guided by your free health coach. Now, this webinar is being recorded and will be available on your health coach's co-branded website, as well as on our YouTube channel and on podcast within 48 hours. So if you're looking on YouTube, search Habits of Health Zoom. And for podcast, open the podcast player of your choice. We would recommend iTunes, and search for Optavia. And you can also access video recordings at bit.ly // HOH playbacks. Now, for those of you that are listening to the recording or the podcast later, we are so glad you've taken the time. Congratulations to you for investing in your health. And we invite you to join us live next time to be part of the discussion. These Habits of Health webinars are held every Wednesday evening at 8:30 Eastern Time, and you can visit your health coach's co-branded website for the link. So tonight, with no further ado, I am really delighted to introduce our special guest to you. Please welcome our behavioral specialist for Optavia, Nick Frye. Nick is a licensed professional counselor with a master's degree in counseling psychology from Loyola University, Maryland. He specializes in all things related to health behavior change, including developing new habits, enhancing motivation, and overcoming mental barriers. In fact, that's what Nick's going to be talking about tonight with his presentation called Managing Your Mindset, Overcoming Common Challenges on the Road to Optimal Well-Being. For me personally, every time I listen to Nick, I learn so much. So grab a piece of paper and a pencil because you're going to want to take notes. Welcome to you, Nick.
So, as Shirley said, we're going to be talking about managing your mindset tonight, overcoming common challenges on the road to optimal well-being. And so for those of you that have never met me before or have been on a call with me previously, I just wanted to give a little bit of information about myself. Shirley already did a wonderful job introducing me, but I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of my role within the Optavia community. You know, I'm really here as a resource. I provide service, support, information, recommendations. I help coaches coach better, and coaches can reach out to me at any time for questions or comments they might have, you know, and, you know, but tonight, really going to be focusing on maybe your own personal challenges, any of the barriers or roadblocks you might be facing yourself, or maybe, you know, if you're a coach, maybe your clients are facing some of these, but I think they're going to be really common challenges that a lot of people kind of relate to tonight. And these are the three main ones that we're going to be talking about. The three most common mental challenges or barriers that people face. The three most common that I help people with, that I see when I'm helping people to achieve optimal well-being is emotional eating, stress management, and self-sabotage. These are definitely the three big ones that I see. Now, what we're going to be learning tonight is that each of these challenges is a habit that can be changed. We're going to learn how they are habits, how to break them down into their different components so that we can understand them better, so that we have an opportunity to change them. Then we're also going to learn one technique tonight that can be used interchangeably for any mental challenge, any barrier that you face. We're going to learn that technique tonight and how you can use it. And that technique is stop, challenge, choose. All right, so I know that many of you are probably very familiar with this tool, and we're going to talk about maybe some different ways that you can utilize it and adapt it to different challenges that you may be facing. Now, for any of you that don't have Dr. A's ebook, Stop, Challenge, Choose, I would highly recommend that you pick that up. You can get that, just ask your Optavia coach, get that, you can download that. I highly recommend you take a look through that, because we're going to be reviewing a lot of the information that's in that ebook tonight. And again, as I said, we're going to be talking about how to adapt it to these very common mental challenges that we are facing. So, but before we do that, we have to understand how habits work. As I said in the beginning, each of these common mental challenges is a habit. And what that means is that it's predictable. We can actually break it down. We can understand it, because that's how habits work. They all work the same way. Each and every habit has 4 components to it. There is the cue. That's kind of the trigger. That's the thing that sets off the habit. That's the thing that gets it going, right? In this example that you see on the screen here, it might be seeing a candy bar. Like, has anybody been in the grocery store and those impulse items right before you're checking out and you see that Snickers bar? Why do they do that? Well, because they know that they're setting a habit in motion, right? We see the candy bar, we buy the candy bar, we eat it, and we get this reward, this sugary treat. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So we see the cue, that's the trigger. Then there's the routine, and that's really the behavior that we engage in. That is the actual kind of observable behavior that we might see. Really, it's the behavior that we oftentimes want to stop, right? So in this example, it's the buying and the eating of the candy bar. Now, the third part to a habit is the reward, and that's the benefit. What do we get out of it, right? These habits don't continue unless we're getting some kind of benefit from it. Some kind of reward. And that's going to be really, really important to keep in mind when we're talking about things, especially like self-sabotage. Like, what on earth could be rewarding about self-sabotage? Well, we're going to learn tonight. So the reward, there's always that reward. What's the payoff? And then once a habit is established, then you get this craving loop that comes in. And that's that desire, that urge that you might feel to engage in a specific habit. So in this circumstance, let's go back to that example where I'm talking about you are going through the grocery store, at the line, impulse item, see the candy bar, you buy it, you eat it, you get the sugary treat, delicious reward, and then it's the next week, and you're going through the grocery store line again, and you see the same candy bar, and you're like, well, that worked last time. That felt really good, and nobody knew. I got to eat it on my drive home. It was wonderful. And unfortunately, now we're beginning to develop this habit. So let's talk about first emotional eating. And I'm so sorry if I am triggering people right now with this delicious bowl of ice cream, but it's really important for us to understand how that actually can work. We can actually see food like this that's presented really beautifully and become cued or triggered, and our habits then get going, right? I think people have figured this out with all of those commercials for fast food and things like that. They show the food looking delicious and wonderful to cue us into this habit of eating, and then we get there and it's always disappointing, isn't it? But let's talk a little bit about emotional eating. So emotional eating is when we experience an emotion as the cue. That is the trigger that sets off this habit of comfort or emotional eating. And so really, it could be any kind of emotion. It could be sadness or anxiety and fear. It could be worry. It could be anger or stress. Excuse me. And sometimes it can even be happy emotions like joy or celebration. Like, how many of us eat emotionally because we're feeling good? birthday cake, right? There's Shirley, she's raising her hand. Birthday cake is literally, a food that is full of sugar we eat when we're happy. I mean, if that's not emotional eating, I don't know what is, right? So that's a good idea of what emotional eating is. And if this is a challenge that you face, I didn't even really need to describe that to you, right? You know what that means, emotional eating. But how is emotional eating a habit? Right? We tend to think it's just something we do. I feel sad, so I eat, or I feel happy, so I eat, or I feel frustrated, so I eat. Well, really, it fits into the 4 components of the habit that I described earlier. So let's take a look at this. Boredom. Boredom is an emotion. We feel, we experience boredom. That can be the cue, the trigger. Then we might eat something like a candy bar. I'm picking on candy bars tonight for some reason. So we might eat something like a candy bar, and that might relieve the boredom. See, there's that soothed emotion, and that is the reward that we experience. So it's not just the sugary treat that's the reward. The boredom is gone temporarily, but it's relieved, it's soothed. We no longer feel so bad. I think that this one really is relatable when you think about, have you ever stood in front of the refrigerator looking and you're like, I don't even know how I got it. Like, what am I even, not even, I know what's in here. There's nothing in here for me, right? And that's probably a bored reaction where we're just kind of bored and we wander in the kitchen, we open up the refrigerator door and we're like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. And we then begin to create this habit. And that's an important thing to understand about habits too, is oftentimes they're automatic. You might find we ask ourselves, how did I even get here? How did this even happen? Why did this happen? And these habits become automatic. So we can break down the emotional eating into the habit loop. So I want you guys to put into the chat box now, what are some of the emotions that might trigger your craving to eat? For you, is it celebration, like happy occasions? Is it anxiety or worry? Or what about sadness? How about stress? Or if you feel isolated or alone or bored, what is it for you that triggers your craving to eat? Right? That's really important for us to understand, because then we're going to understand, if boredom is a trigger for us, well, we need to understand that we've got to fight boredom when it comes up, right? Or maybe sadness is a trigger for us. Well, what can we do when we get sad? We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight as well. So let's move on to stress. And stress technically is an emotion that we can feel, but it's such a unique emotion that it bears its own discussion here. So really, what is stress, right? Oftentimes when we think of stress, we think of things like, we're really busy at work, or there's a traffic jam and we're trying to get somewhere and we're running late. Or we're having problems in our relationships, or something like that, something that is happening in our life that's causing us to feel stress. However, there's another cause to stress that's really important for us to understand, and these are the internal causes of stress. And this really happens in between the old ears of here. So let's take that example of we're running late for something and there's traffic, right? Let's say we got off work early. We left work 15 minutes early to try and make it to Susie's soccer game, right? And it's the last game of the season, and it's so important, and little Susie is so excited that you're going to be there, and you hit traffic. And you think to yourself, I am a terrible parent. I'm going to miss Susie's soccer game. This is what an awful person I am. So we take the stress of being late and the traffic jam, and what do? We compound it with our thoughts. And actually, the thoughts make the stress worse. Thinking we're a terrible person or a terrible parent, or they'll never forgive us for missing this. That type of stress is something else that we have to watch out for. And this can be a habit. It can be a habit. Here's how stress fits into the habit loop. So let's say you had a really long day at work, right? You're mentally frazzled. Your boss was riding you all day. Oh my gosh, you couldn't get anything right, right? So you come home, you're feeling stressed out. You just want to turn your brain off. So you sit down, pop on Netflix, start to binge, right? And you become relaxed from the distraction, right? You actually feel more relaxed because you're not thinking about all the really, really stressful things that happened that day. And remember, it's the thoughts that really compound our stress. So it wasn't necessarily that we had a rough day at work, or that our boss was riding us, or that we didn't get that project in on time. It's that we tell ourselves, oh my gosh, I'm going to get fired. Or I'm a terrible employee. I'm going to get yelled at tomorrow. Or gosh, what a failure I am. And all of these compound together, and that creates all that stress, right? And then the relaxation we feel by doing the unhealthy behavior, bam, there we go. Now we've got another habit of disease. We've just developed this stress habit. So what stresses you out? Let's see it in the comments. Let's see it in the chat box there. What is stressing you out? And think about what your thoughts are that stress you out as well. So maybe it stresses you out that you have some financial difficulties right now. But what thoughts go along with that, right? Maybe we start catastrophizing. We start thinking like, I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my car. I'm going to be, just down and out in Skid Row. It's going to be awful. And what are the thoughts that go along with the stressful situations we experience in life? Because again, we're going to need to be able to deal with not only the stressful situations, but really the stressful thoughts. Third and final one we're going to be talking about tonight, self-sabotage. Okay, so what is self-sabotage? This is the experience when we're chugging along, we're doing pretty good, and then we just totally collapse in on ourselves. We destroy what we've built, and we just can't even figure out, why did I do this? Why did I get within 10 pounds of my goal weight only to go out and just go crazy with ice cream, or go to the buffet, or hit the McDonald's or something like that? Why did I do this? Why did I sabotage myself? Well, oftentimes what's going on with self-sabotage is, again, it's based off of in between the old ears, what we're thinking. So self-sabotage usually comes from what we call self-limiting beliefs. And these are I statements. They always begin with I. I am a failure. I don't deserve to be happy. I will never be healthy. Or perhaps we're labeling ourselves. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm unworthy. Whatever it is, whatever these negative I statements say to ourselves. Oftentimes these come from like our childhood, or we've developed them, over the years. Maybe they're things that people said to us that we internalized, or however they developed. But they're these awful I statements. And what happens is we say these I statements, and then in order to feel better, we go off program, we go off plan, we eat something unhealthy, we run to the drive-through, whatever it is for us, and it becomes, you guessed it, a habit. So the cue for this one is the self-limiting belief. I'm such a failure. The routine is we make an unhealthy choice. We eat something off plan, let's say, or we eat something unhealthy, right? And again, we get that reward. And so what we're actually doing is we're rewarding the thought. It goes, see how it's that circle? It goes all the way back. So we're actually rewarding the thought. I think I'm such a failure. I reward it with unhealthy, comforting, delicious food, right? And so now we've just reinforced that thought. We just reinforced that self-limiting belief. So anytime we think to ourselves, I'm such a failure, oh, I know how to fix that ice cream. Good, I feel better. I'm such a failure. Oh, I know how to fix that ice cream. We feel better. I'm such a failure. And so this one really becomes just really insidious, because we can really prove to ourselves that we're such a failure because we're making these bad, unhealthy choices, right? So let's see it in the chat box. What are your self-limiting beliefs? What do you tell yourself? What did people tell you that you've internalized, or what do you believe about yourself? And just to be sure, I want to make sure everybody understands this. Most of the time, these self-limiting beliefs, they're just not true. They're just things that we believe are about ourselves. They're things that are holding us back, that are self-imposed barriers to being successful. So far we've identified emotions that get in our way, what stresses us out, and our self-limiting beliefs. And this type of self-awareness goes a long way in helping change these habits. So next we're going to talk about how to do exactly that. How do we change these habits? Stop, challenge, choose. So in order to change a habit, whenever you hit one of these mental challenges, one of these barriers, we want to stop, challenge, choose. And that choose is going to be really important, because that's going to help us to get a different reward, or a similar reward, but do something differently, right? We're going to use this tool to break up the habit, to just get us out of this rut so that we can do something different. Let's take a look and see how this works. So there are 3 major keys for this. The first is you want to replace the unhealthy routine with stop, challenge, choose. Whenever the cue happens, the next thing you do, stop, challenge, choose. So if you know that loneliness is your trigger for emotional eating, that's your cue. Whenever you feel lonely, stop, challenge, choose immediately. That's going to be the new routine. When you challenge, you draw towards what you want, and you push away from what you don't want. And then you choose a different routine that makes you feel good. It has to make you feel good. It has to be rewarding, or else the habit will not change. Let's take a look at how this plays out. Emotional eating. Let's go back to that example. Evening boredom, feeling bored, right? That's the cue. That's the trigger. We stop, challenge, choose. You stop, take a deep breath, challenge. You know what? I could go look in the fridge right now. That's only going to make me feel better temporarily. You know what is going to make me feel better? Having some social interaction. I could text my coach. I could call a friend. I could do something right now to reach out to get some kind of social interaction that's going to make me feel good. Once you repeatedly do this, you're going to develop a craving for social interaction instead of emotional eating. That means you've developed a new habit. So again, let's say you feel this cue of, let's use anxiety or worry this time. You're going to replace the unhealthy routine with stop, challenge, and choose. I really highly recommend you contact your coach. Just pop off a text or something like that, right? Or give them a call if you're feeling, if you know that your cue is boredom or anxiety or worry. When you feel that way, stop, take a breath, challenge that, and then choose to text or call or message your coach. Next, stress. Here's how we bust up the stress habit loop with the same tool: stop, challenge, choose. Back to that mentally frazzled, long day at work. Stop, challenge, choose. Choose something that makes us feel better, that soothes the stress. Anytime we feel stressed, stop, challenge, choose. Stress, stop, challenge, choose. That's the habit we want to create. And again, you have to choose a new routine that's going to make you feel good. So I'm going to teach you all one tonight. It's called the soothing breath. Soothing breath. So I can't see everybody. I'm going to just take it on your honor that you're going to be doing this with me. So what we're going to do is soothing breath is you take 3 counts in through your nose and you hold it for 3, and then you exhale through your mouth and you purse your lips as you do it. Like that. That's when you purse your lips. So we're all going to do this together. Okay. So wherever you're at right now, we're all going to do this soothing, calming breath together. So in for 3, 2, 3, hold it. 2, 3, purse your lips out. We're going to do that one more time. In, 2, 3, hold it. 2, 3, purse your lips and out. Now, you do that 2, 3 more times just to calm yourself down. You want to count in 1, 2, 3, hold 1, 2, 3, out 1, 2, 3. So now it's like you're dancing the waltz or something, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that will be the new routine to help you manage that stress right in the moment. Finally, let's talk about the self-sabotage one. So the cue again is that negative limiting belief statement that says I'm such a failure. Whenever we experience that thought, stop, challenge, choose. That's our new routine. Anytime we have a self-limiting belief, I'm unlovable, or I'm no good, or I don't deserve happiness, or I'll never be healthy. Stop, challenge the thought, choose to do something healthy and make you feel good. I'm going to teach you one last thing tonight. This is how we help ourselves to feel good if we're experiencing those self-limiting beliefs. We help another person. And I like to call these random acts of kindness. So let's say you've got this cue. I don't deserve to be happy. Okay, that's your belief. Take a deep breath. Challenge. Well, that's not completely true. I actually am a good person. In fact, I can help somebody right now. Choose. Just text someone random out of your contact list and tell them something you appreciate of them. So maybe you text your mother, hey, I really appreciate you as my mother, and I'm just so glad you're my mom, and how you raised me was just wonderful. Or maybe it's your brother, right? Hey, bro, I was just thinking about that time when you really came through for me. I ran out of gas and you came, picked me up, and I just wanted to let you know I appreciate you as my brother. Maybe it's your coach. Maybe you text your coach or something and say, hey, I know that it's been really challenging to stick with me, and I'm just so happy that you really helped me through all these challenges, and I'm just so happy that you're my coach. And the cool thing is if you're feeling down and you help somebody else to feel good, guess what happens? You feel good. So I want this to be the new routine when we're experiencing those self-limiting beliefs. Maybe we say, I'm such a failure, I don't deserve to be happy, I'll never be healthy. We stop, we challenge it, and we choose to do something nice for other people. So I'm just going to review. There's a lot of information tonight, but I just want to review some of the key points. These common mental challenges, whether it's stress management or self-limiting beliefs or emotional eating, they all fit into this habit loop. Each and every habit can be broken down into the 4 components: cue, routine, reward, craving. Awareness of these parts is really critical to your change. Also, understanding what your cues are. What are the emotions that cause cravings for you? What are your self-limiting beliefs? What stresses you out? And whenever you identify these things, you replace the routine with stop, challenge, choose. This can be used for any of the challenges. And the 3 keys to success when you're doing stop, challenge, choose is you replace the unhealthy routine with stop, challenge, choose. You challenge by drawing towards what you want. You want health, pushing away from what is no longer desirable, disease. And then you choose a different routine that makes you feel good. Has to make you feel good. If you choose to take a walk, but you hate walking, that doesn't work then, right? If you choose to comfort yourself by petting your dog, but you don't have a dog, that doesn't make any sense. So you have to choose a routine that makes you feel good. So in the chat box there, which one of these 3, or maybe it's a different one, is your challenge? Do you struggle with emotional eating? Do you struggle with self-sabotage? How about stress? Maybe it's all 3 for you. Remember, it doesn't matter, because now you have the tools to overcome any of these challenges.
The following audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, Please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.